Morning. Gonna do a bit of yoga this morning. I've got a dog with me, so if he runs off somewhere, I might have to go and get him. He's a bit playful this morning. So we're probably going to go for about half an hour. I've not done a yoga session for 2 weeks because if you have been following our videos, you might have seen during one of the fitness sessions I actually pulled my hamstring live during the session, so we've not done much since then. So we're going to start in easy position, just sat down. We'll start off just doing some work on our neck, so we'll look up, look to the floor, look to the left, look to the right. I'm going to reach away with the left hand. We're just going to let our head fall to the right hand side. We'll just hold there for about 30 seconds. And then we'll go the other way, so reach away with your right hand. Just gently let your head fall away to the side. We'll do that again, but this time as we reach away, we're going to take our hand onto our head. Don't pull it down, just let that weight from your arm just naturally stretch your neck just a little bit more than the first time. Swap sides. And looking forwards, make sure we got a nice straight back, nice natural spine. We're just going to do some really big shoulder rolls backwards to begin with. Maybe about 10. And then we'll go forwards. Couple more. We're going to do some nice easy twists to start with. So you're going to take your left hand, put it on the outside of your right leg, and then you're going to take your right hand behind, and we're just going to use this left hand at the front to help us twist. And if your neck feels okay, we're going to look over our shoulder and look behind. And we'll hold that for about 30 seconds. Then we'll swap sides. So take your right hand, put it on the outside of your leg, take the left hand behind, and again we're using this hand on the front as a little bit of leverage, and we're just going to twist and look over our shoulder. Good, we're going to go into box position, do some cat-cows. So let's make sure we're in a good box before we do anything. We've got our hands right under our shoulders, we've got our knees right under our hips, and to start with, our back is nice and flat. So we're going to inhale, we're going to look up, send our navel to the mat. We're going to exhale, tuck your chin, curve your spine, send everything up towards the sky. Inhale, cow position, hold the breath if you want to, exhale, cat, inhale, Do this with your own breath timing. Exhale, cat. And we'll do a few of these, working at your own pace, working with your breath, inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. On the next one, inhale as you do cow, and this time as you exhale, push your sit bones back onto your heels. Exhaling, send your head to the mat, and we'll just take a few breaths in child's position. Take your hands to the mat, inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to sit up and just sit back onto your heels. We'll just take a few breaths here. I'm going to send my hands back into the mat, just quickly into box, but I'm straight away going to take my right foot here through my legs, so I end up with my right foot on the inside of my right hand. And then I'm going to twist, reach up to the sky and hold here for about 30 seconds. I'm sending my gaze up to the sky as well, so I'm looking at my thumb as I point up to the ceiling. I take a hand back to the mat and go back into the box position briefly, and again I'm going to lift my left knee up off the mat and I'm going to send my left foot to the inside of my left hand, and then I'm going to send my left hand right up to the ceiling. If it feels okay, my gaze is going to follow. I'm looking at my big thumb, my only thumb in fact, big thumb, big finger, also known as a thumb. I send my hand back to the mat. Again, step my knee back into this box position. I'm going to stay here for a few more breaths. I'm going to release my toes, really strong core, and I'm going to send my gaze over to my left and just hold. Send my gaze over to my right, hold. Looking back at the ground or back at your mat, I'm going to inhale, and as I exhale I'm going to send my right hand out and my left foot behind me, and I'm going to hold here for about 30 seconds. Hand and knee back to the mat, inhale, exhale, go the other way. Again, we'll hold here for about 30 to 45 seconds. My gaze is going down into the mat, looking to keep my body in pretty much a perfectly straight line if possible. So don't let your hands drop or your leg drop, keep them up, keep everything in line with each other. Hand back to mat, knee back to mat. Bring your knees to the outside of your mat, your feet together, and again we'll push our sit bones back onto our heels, take our hands behind. We'll take a few breaths here in child's position. hands back to the mat, inhale, and as we exhale again, we sit up and sit back onto my heels. Just take a few breaths here. Again, we'll come back to box. This time we're going to go into our first downward dog. So what I want you to do is just take your hands this time slightly in front, maybe about an inch in front of your shoulders. Engage your toes, inhale, and as I exhale, send the sit bones straight up to the sky. We're sending our chest towards our thighs, and we're sending our heels towards the mat. Send your right leg up into the air, inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to send that foot all the way to the inside of our right hand, and we end up in this lunge position. I'm looking forward or looking at the ground just in front of my mat. I'm going to inhale, and as I exhale, I'm going to lift my hands up off the mat, and I'm going to send them behind me. We'll hold here for a count of 10. Send your hands back to the mat. We're going to step back to plank. We'll hold here for about 10. And let ourselves drop down to the mat. If you can, keep your elbows nice and tight to the body. Slowly drop, release your toes, exhale, and we'll just hold cobra. Look up to the sky if it feels okay. Just looking around to see what Clyde's doing. And then again, we're going to send sit bones back to our heels, release your hands, release your head to the mat. And we'll just take a few breaths here. Hands back to the mat. Again, we'll sit back onto our heels. And we'll go back into downward dog. So just like before, bring your hands slightly in front. Make sure your hands are in line with your shoulders. Hands are spread out on the mat. Engage toes. Inhale. As you exhale, send sit bones straight up. Send chest towards your thighs. Gently pushing your heels down onto the mat. You can bend your legs here if you have to. You don't have to have your legs straight. Whatever you can do. Some of you are going to have greater flexibility than me. I'm a bit tight in my shoulders. I always am. Doesn't really matter. On your next inhale, this time send left foot up. Briefly hold, and then we're going to send our left foot to the inside of our left hand. I'm pressing my right foot into the mat. I'm keeping my right foot into the mat. I'm keeping my right leg nice and straight. I'm looking just in front of my mat, and then I'm going to send my hands out behind, stretching away from me. We'll hold here for a count of 10. Send your hands to the mat, step back to plank. Again, we're going to hold a plank for about 10. If you struggled lowering yourself to the mat last time, bring your knees to the mat here. Same thing, elbows are going backwards, sink down, slowly as you can. Hit the mat and then push up into cobra, and we'll hold here. And again, push your bum back onto your heels, send your hands behind, head to the mat, child's position. Back up into box position, and we're just going to step one foot to the mat here and then the other foot, and we're going to go into our deep squat position. So I'm just going to face this way instead. So I've got my feet about shoulder width apart, feet are coming out maybe about 45 degrees, and I'm just going to sink, completely relax my upper body. If you want to make it a little bit more intense, we can bring our elbows to the inside of our knees here, hands together, and we just push our hands in towards our chest. And we'll hold here for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to come up onto my toes and I'm going to go into the half squat position. So you might be able to keep your feet flat here, but I'm going to come up onto my toes and I'm going to send my leg out to the side. I'm just going to hold in this position here. Clyde's just seen another dog, so I'm just going to have to go and make sure he doesn't run off. Oi! Get here! Get here! Clyde! Clyde! Give me 2 seconds, I'll be back now. Get here! Get here! Clyde! Clyde! Totally ignoring me. Oh well. So let's go the other side. So start off in full squat. If you need to, come up onto your toes and then take your leg out to the side. Come on! We'll hold here for about 45 seconds. And then back to full squat again. Most of you probably going to be able to get your feet flat on here, and again we'll bring our hands to the front and we'll just force our legs apart, make it a little bit more intense for 30 seconds. Bring your hands to the mat, bring yourself to a seated position, bring your feet together, make sure we've got a neutral spine here. When I see people doing cobbler's pose in the gym, sort of people are hunched over like this, you're better off keeping your shoulders back, even having your hands behind rather than grabbing hold of your toes, and just pushing your body forwards, sending your knees towards the mat. And if you need a little bit more leverage, you can get your hands around your feet, but still make sure your shoulders are back. You shouldn't need to lean forward too much to get the stretch if you're keeping a neutral spine. I'm going to take one foot out in front, inhale, lengthen, take hands up over your head, exhale, and we'll fold. If you can get hold of the foot, great. If you can't, just hands on the ground or on your mat, sending your head towards your knee. Clyde, come and say hello. Watch him knock over the camera now. Hi Clyde. Hello. And we'll swap our legs, so grab your foot nice and tight into the groin, lean up, inhale, and out of the way, exhale, lean forwards. Should have just left them over there, shouldn't I? So we're sending our head towards our knee, trying to keep this knee on the ground. There shouldn't really be a gap between the bottom of your knee and the floor. So if you can, keeping the knee pressed down, we're sending our head towards our knee, and we'll hold here for 10 seconds, 15 seconds possibly. And then we're going to do both legs together, so bring both legs out in front. Make sure we've got a nice neutral spine, so I'm sending my chest forwards, my shoulders back. In the gym, when we're doing fitness exercises, I like to get people to imagine they're squeezing lemons under their armpits, and it gets us this nice neutral position for deadlifting and squatting. But it's the same doing our mobility and yoga. Chest out, shoulders back, inhale, reach up, exhale, fold forwards, get hold of your toes, hands, whatever, even if it's just your shins. Maybe get your hands under your legs here if you can't quite reach, just a little bit of leverage to make the forward fold a little bit more intense, so we're making a little bit more progress. And then we're going to lie back onto our mat, Apanasana. So that means we're going to take our knees one at a time, head back on the mat, all your back's on the mat, and we're just pulling our knees towards the chest. We'll take about a minute in this position. It's nice and relaxing. It's really nice for your lower back. And just let your feet fall to the mat. Make sure they're shoulder width apart. We're going to take our hands down onto the mat, hands spread out, and we're going to do a bridge. So inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to push our hips up into the air. Most of you are probably going to be okay here, but if you want to increase the difficulty of the bridge a little bit, we can just walk. Our shoulders, I'm really tight in my shoulders, so I can't go any further than that at the minute, but you might be able to walk your shoulders a little bit closer to your feet and get a better bridge shape I'm pushing down into the mat with my hands and I'm sending my hips up into the air. Keep holding. And I'll sink down and we'll go straight into Apanasana. It's really starting to get warm now, the sun's really in my eyes. I'm going to take my hands out to the side. I've got my hands flat down onto the ground or onto your mat. Heels together, knees together, and just let your knees fall to the side. This is called belly twist. And if you want to, you can look in the opposite direction. Your arms and your shoulders should all be touching the mat if possible. And then we'll go the other way, so lift everything up, let it fall in the opposite direction. I got a nice crack in my back then, I don't know if you could hear it. That's a good thing, I think. It feels good anyway. If you're doing a lot of lifting, even if it's at the moment, you know, where maybe we haven't got access to a gym, so we're not going heavy, but even if stuff you're doing at home, you know, your core is constantly working, it's constantly tensing up to protect your body. Twists are what you should be doing. This is where I feel most of my tightness. Lower back, my hips there are always tight. We'll go into Apanasana again. We'll bring ourselves up to a seated position. Back into easy position, just like we started. Take our arm, pull it across our chest. Take the other arm. And we'll do a bit of work on our wrists. Everyone always neglects their wrists, so put your arm on top of your knee and we're just going to do some rotations in one direction. Especially if you're doing a lot of body weight stuff at the moment, being stuck at home, your wrists are going to be perhaps doing a lot more work than what you normally do in the gym. Maybe. Either way, you should always be doing a little bit of mobility work, stretching work on your wrists at least once a week. So after we've done some rotations, I'm going to hyperextend it, or not hyperextend it, but bend it in the opposite direction to the way it normally works. You know, we've bent it that way, doing our plank, doing a box position, doing lots of positions, so we need to make sure we work it in the opposite direction. And then we'll go the other side. So we'll do some rotations first, then the other way. It's harder this side for some reason. And again, just work the hand in the opposite direction. Last thing we'll do is some rolls from the neck. So look down, really slow circle one way, and then the other. We'll do that 3 times. And we'll call that a day there. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. It is an absolutely incredible day here in Manchester. I don't know where everyone watching is. Clyde's been pretty good. I only had to call him over once. Clyde, come and say hello again. Come on, everyone wants to see you. There you go, right in front of the camera. I'm gonna have a coffee. Sit here in the sun. Could probably sunbathe already. It's that warm here. Hope that was good. Hope everyone's still training. See you later.